Anchora, the female Omnic AI style tank bot? What? Where the hell have we got this information from? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into detail because we'll all be aware of this by now. This is Eefii's Spotlight on Numbani blog post update, which basically introduces Eefiii to all of our eyeballs. However, a very interesting thing is this was actually, well, it's in-game time. This isn't an article from the past. It is present day Overwatch. So Eefiii is not going to grow up and become a hero or anything like that. So what the hell was this tweet I put out yesterday? Eefiii creates Anchora, a spider tank bot seen in Sombra's web. Is this the next hero? Well, actually, this is kind of plausible. And the reason why I think this is kind of plausible is this post here, which we'll go into detail on a little bit later in the video. But this is a leak from 4chan, and this actually contains a lot of very relevant information. In fact, a lot of things have been predicted by this post, which leads me to believe that, yes, we could actually be looking at this Anchora-style hero, which is in fact some sort of crazy Omnic-style massive mega tank bot, which, well, is something to do with tanking. So we actually have kind of Omnic bots in the game already, or tank bots even. So if we look on Iconvolt, what we can see is, well, a massive dead Omnic tank. Now, I don't think this is going to be the hero as such. If we look at this very early Overwatch artwork, which to be honest looks awesome, look how dark this looks. Look at that thing on the right hand side. That is this tank bot. It looks exactly the same, right? So we're going to take a little bit of a closer look right now, but you can see it looks pretty much the same. It's got the same sort of heavy MG on top, so a heavy machine gun. It's got the same sort of ammo canister container thing. It's got the same general kind of shape. Now, these are present on Iconvolt. There are very large ones off the map as well. There are two that are destroyed on the map. We're about to see the other one, which is on the attacker's spawn, sort of really close to it. So we know that those, or that hero, that concept art, probably isn't going to be the tank bot. But what the hell is this we're looking at? Well, this is very early gameplay footage taken from BlizzCon. That thing in the middle is a spider with 4 legs firing a laser beam. Yes, that's probably what we're going to be looking at, maybe, right? Some sort of laser shooting killer tank bot. I mean, I'll subscribe to that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that is right up my street. Holy hell, that would be absolutely beautiful. So how does this all link together? Well, this thing here is from the Sombra web. Now, if you look at this, we've got a very large Numbani logo. We have a kind of robotic thing at the bottom, then we've got the gauntlet. Now, there was previously no connection between Numbani and this robot, and there still kind of isn't a solid connection that we know of, but what we do know of is that Eefiii, she designs drones, she designs robots, and she's a child genius. So potentially she is the missing link here between Numbani and this spider bot thing. And so potentially she's the one who connects them together. And also the Doomfist is in that as well. And we know the Doomfist container is smashed on Numbani, so something must happen. So let's take a closer look at this. That, to me, looks pretty much like a 4-legged tank bot thingy, right? Looks pretty much like what I showed you with the early game concept art that was taken from BlizzCon. They look, to me, not identical, but they've got very similar design styles. They've both got 4 legs, for example, which is very interesting. So let's take a look at this post. This is from 4chan, and this was posted on the 9th of January, so quite some time ago, and this contains a ton of information. For example, it says that the Lunar New Year will happen, and it will be, well, called Year of the Rooster, which is actually quite interesting. It also tells us about a new origin story for May. We're not sure whether that's going to be true, but if it turns out to be true, that would be pretty ridiculous, especially the line where it says it ends with May at a transponder viewing the repeating loop of Winston activating all members of Overwatch. So Winston, by reactivating Overwatch, actually saves May's life. That could make for a really nice cinematic or origin story, which are generally not cinematics or animated shorts. They're kind of those concept art style animated videos, if you think back to the Anna origin story or any other origin story, even the Sombra one. So that could be really cool to see, because May is really a nice character. She's just hated in the game, but she is really a nice person. But what's the most interesting thing in all of this here is the section on Anchora, where it goes into detail on this, explaining exactly what that is and what it means. And this is what we're going to look at right now, because I honestly think this does make sense, because I for a while wanted a Reinhardt-style replacement tank. Not a replacement as such, that's probably not the right words to use, but another character that can do the same sort of thing as Reinhardt. And if it's called Anchora, it's an anchor. It's a point where the entire team can sort of play together from, kind of like Reinhardt. So let's look at this. So If we go into detail on this right now, we've got Anchora. Contrary to speculation, Doomfist is not next. Well, we know that now because Jeff's confirmed it. The upcoming character is a female Omnic quadruped codenamed Anchora. Now, there's no actual mention of Omnics in the blog post, so I didn't really think it would be an Omnic to begin with, so maybe it will be, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll just be a straight up robot that is controlled off-site. Who knows? In order to balance out the tank roster, the game needs another tank that acts as an anchor, like Reinhardt. Shit name, I know. Anchora hails from Numbani and has a West African accent. So, as you can see I've said on the screen there, Anchora sounds like the development name. Now, Farah, when she was under development, very early Farah, she was actually called Rocket Dude because I didn't know she was going to be a female. She had no story. She was just a character that fired rockets. And then she changed to Rocket Queen and then she became Farah. So, Anchora is not a great name, right? It doesn't sound great, so it's probably not the actual name of the hero in question. So, let's look at Efi then, and let's look at what could potentially happen. Like, how could Efi build this robot? Well, Efi, she wins the grant, right? The Genius grant from Numbani. And maybe she uses that to buy old Omnic tank parts from the tanks that I've showed you in this video, and then builds a new sort of robot based off that, a new form of AI, a human-friendly AI, kind of like Athena, which I still believe Athena is a god program, but she is a friendly one to humans. So maybe Efi does something like that. She is a genius after all, so literally the sky is the limit. So if she does create this tank bot, what the hell does that actually mean? What's going to happen? Because she's not actually made it right now. At least we don't think she has, because in the blog post, she doesn't say, oh yes, I've built this, or I'm working on finishing a project. She just says, like, oh yeah, I've got an idea what I'll spend the grant on, but I can't tell you. So what's going to happen? Has she already built this? We don't really know. But why would this tank bot thing actually be, or spider bot, I guess we should call it a spider bot, actually be part of the Sombra web? It's really weird, so it must have some sort of implications in the game. So, she says this at the end of the blog post. It's a secret for now, but my parents are taking me on a trip to celebrate. It'll be my first time flying, so I can't wait. Okay, so this pretty much says to me, 100% I can guarantee right now something is going to happen in the airport terminal in Numbani. This could be the plane gets shot down. The plane crashes. She doesn't actually get on the plane because a fight breaks out. Something ridiculous is going to happen. Now, this is where we go wild with speculation, because how the hell could Blizzard introduce this hero in a cinematic on Numbani with Efi? Now remember, Efi is not the character. She is too young to be the character. There are wild ideas of, maybe Efi's plane gets shot down and somehow she sort of transplants herself into her creation before she dies in some sort of ridiculous, like, RoboCop style madness. I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think Blizzard are going to show children being killed. I mean, they wouldn't have to show it, right? The plane could go down and she could, like, press a few buttons on her fancy mobile phone or whatever the hell she's got, and then something ridiculous happens, consciousness is transferred. Something like that could potentially happen, but I still don't think Blizzard are going to be too hot on the idea of just killing a minor to then create a new character. I think it would be cool. I mean, I'd like to see that. I mean, hell, that early Overwatch artwork I showed you in this video, that looks really dark, so if Overwatch was like that, that'd be beautiful. But Overwatch is a very sort of happy game, even though we're killing each other. So that is one way this could potentially happen. The other way is she gets attacked by Talon, right? We know Talon want the Doomfist, and we know Doomfist isn't the next hero. So, Talon are attacking Numbani. Efi is on the way to the airport with her family, right? Efi, maybe there's a hostage situation in the airport, right? And Efi can call her tank bot or her spider bot, which is actually built already, which comes to her aid. So this thing comes to save her, but in the whole process of the cinematic, it actually prevents Talon from taking the Doomfist, because Efi, being a child genius, would realise the significance of the Doomfist and would realise why Talon are there trying to capture the thing, because if they take that, that's going to be bad news, because the thing can level a skyscraper. We know it's super powerful. We still don't know where Doomfist is, and we still don't know if he's attached to Talon or what, but we know Talon want it. So maybe the spider bot, the tank bot, Anchora, actually stops this from happening, which could be the whole premise for the cinematic. Now, there are other crazy, wild things we can start thinking about. What happens if she builds a body for Athena? Now, I don't know whether that would happen as such, because if Athena is a god program, surely she would have the technology to build her own body. The way the Omnics work is they are produced in Omniums, which are basically massive factories which produce endless lines of Omnics, so loads of bastions and all of that stuff. They would be able to produce a body for themselves, I'm fairly sure. I mean, Athena, being the super intelligent god program that she probably is, she could instruct Winston or somebody to build her a body. I don't think Efi's going to be building a body for Athena. I still think Athena will be a hero in the future, but I don't think she's going to enter the game right now. What I think is going to happen, based off the evidence we've got here, and if this leak turns out to be true, is that Efi creates the new hero. The new hero is then heavily involved in the defense of Numbani and protecting the Doomfist Gauntlet from Talon agents trying to steal it. Whether Efi dies in all of this, I don't know. I find that very hard to believe they would kill the child. There are ways of doing it, as I've discussed, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think instead what's going to happen is her creation, because she is involved in creating AI as well, becomes sentient, or already is sentient, and then decides that it needs to help save the world, and it needs to kind of, not join Overwatch, because Overwatch is kind of defunct at the moment, but it's going to help Overwatch, and it's going to fight against Talon. And that's probably what's going to happen. Now, as ever, when I say in these videos, I want you guys to go crazy in the comments below. There are many ways we could look at this, but I am fairly sure what we're going to be seeing is Efi's creation as the new hero, and I'm pretty sure we're going to find out about this next Tuesday. In fact, I'm 100% sure we're going to find out next Tuesday what's going to happen, and honestly, I cannot wait. There is a problem with Overwatch right now. We need another tank like Reinhardt. We don't want a clone of Reinhardt, but we want another hero that can do the same sort of role. And if Anchora, which is, I believe, the development name of this hero, turns out to be true, then that name implies it anchors a location, right? So it would be the centerpiece of a defensive position. And who is that right now? Well, that's Reinhardt, because he stands in the choke. So how could this hero work? What would it do? I don't really know. I mean, we could go wild with speculation. All we really know is Blizzard made some concept art of a big spider bot firing a laser beam. That could mean anything, right? That doesn't necessarily mean a tank. It's firing a goddamn laser. That means it's killing everybody. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, it is very exciting. I mean, I absolutely love this stuff. I love Overwatch, and I love, like, trying to drill down and find, like, things before they go live. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for next week. Holy hell. Anyway, guys, go crazy in the comments below. I've been Stylosa. This is Unit Lost. And please give us a goddamn Spider-Bot tank. Oh, Blizz, I'd love you if you did.